starting autopilot. Just getting out of the door for a road trip. And it's kind of noisy now because the air is very, very fresh, the morning air, low temperature and low humidity. So just trying to get the cool air inside the car. This is a new version of FSD, the Tesla so-called full self-driving. I just got the software update about maybe a week ago, but did not get a chance to test it. So now it's on a road trip. I thought it's a good opportunity to do that. The current FSD version is 11.4.7. So everybody now in the community is talking about the Elon Musk FSD version 12 for an expected big update. So I guess this is one of the smaller versions that's before that big update. Hopefully that would be soon. Although Elon Musk, according to him, that version 12 is going to be like a big deal. But then again, it's Elon Musk. So everything he says should have a kind of a big grain of salt. But still, my experience has been in using the FSD for the past quite a number of years actually. Every time when they do a small version update, there would be like new improvement in smaller ways. So we'll see about this 11.4.7. So this is going to be a long road trip, basically from Washington DC to Chicago. But we'll see how that goes. Now, once we get to the highway, then there's really not too much to it. But currently we're on local road, and this is a good opportunity to see how FSD would handle a variety of different things on the road. And we're on the left lane, but we need to make a switch to the right in order to get onto the highway. So that's good. It kind of managed to squeeze in because the exit or the entrance to the highway is on the right. So that's pretty good. So getting ready to merge to the highway. It is Friday morning, so kind of a busy morning, so we will see. But we are going to only drive in this busy section of road kind of for a short while, and then we'll be heading outwards to the kind of sparsely populated area or the interstate highway, and that should not be a problem as far as traffic goes. We're currently driving on a state highway, approaching interstate highway that is the main artery in some way from Maryland all the way west to California. Oh, Okay, so here is a failure actually. It failed to catch up the yellow light. So that is a problem. Okay. So that was FSD failure. I'm glad that I caught it on camera. Let me start FSD again. Okay, so FSD is started again. We're of course waiting for the red light. So what happened before earlier, seconds ago, I think the system recognized that the time probably was a tiny bit too short, but in my view, we got enough time to pass through that yellow light. But FSD instead, it decided that it's better for the driver to take over. So it stopped with a signal warning to me that FSD was stopping the operation, which by itself is not bad because that's what the current FSD is supposed to work. That is, it automatically drives until there's something that it thinks that it cannot handle, and then it would let the driver know. So the driver would take over, and that's exactly what just now happened. So as you all have seen just now, at the time when we were waiting for the traffic light, the red light, I restarted FSD, but only after I left a message for Tesla to describe basically in a very brief way what happened. So the system has such a mechanism that if FSD could not handle and the driver takes over, it automatically starts a recording session. So just now it was that recording session. Before I restarted FSD at the traffic light, I was actually talking to Tesla about what just happened, and so that they can make an improvement. It's actually quite a good system. A lot of people complain about Tesla and FSD, but I think all of these are quite reasonable. So we had automatically reduced speed because of all this line of trucks. Okay, so now we're on the interstate highway. So from now on, basically everything is just a kind of routine. We are passing a city named Frederick, Maryland. So there are a couple of intercrossing highways. So one of the good things about FSD is if you are going through something like this, and sometimes the road signs are actually confusing. But once you have set up a route in your navigation system with the FSD, then you don't need to worry about it, because the system will choose the right lane and obviously the correct routing of the road system, and it can guide you to switch lanes and to make the decisions, regardless how confusing those road signs are. Because sometimes they indeed are confusing, and because you're driving on the high-speed interstate highway, and you often don't have enough time to react. So if you are in a new place, that can be a little bit challenging. And sometimes you can get onto the wrong road. And especially the interstate highway, once you have made the wrong choice, then you would have to drive for quite far to get back. So FSD does this for you, so that's pretty useful. Also, in terms of switching lanes on the road, there is a configuration option that you can choose. Either you let FSD make the decision to change lane for you, or like what I did was to configure the change lane. That is, the system does not change lane until and unless you confirm it. And this is something that I found to be more suitable for my kind of way of driving, because if you totally rely on FSD, then sometimes it just makes the decision. For example, if you are driving on the left lane, the fast lane, then you're not driving too fast, but it keeps taking the fast lane, and that sometimes appears to be not very polite for people behind you. And sometimes if you're not driving on the fast lane, then it would quickly switch from the not fast lane to the left lane, the fast lane. But then you know that ahead of you, you would have to switch back. So that's why I have configured the system so that I make the decision to change lane, not the FSD, the system. But just now we mentioned about when you have intersections of highways, then if the system deems that it's necessary to switch lane for you to get onto the right road, then it will switch the lane without your confirmation. And that is good because, again, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes the road signs can be confusing and you may end up making wrong decisions. So there is a situation, emergency vehicle in front of us. I noticed that in the recent several software updates, FSD started recognizing the emergency vehicle lighting, so it would automatically reduce the speed. Of course, just now, the black SUV in front of this car already started reducing the speed, so it simply followed that car. So we are now in Pennsylvania, still in the Appalachian Mountains area. We need to cross this big mountain, big area of mountains, although the mountains themselves are not really that big. So here's some situation of road conditions. Apparently some constructions, so 2-lane highway now becomes 1 lane. Still, up to this point, FSD has been handling itself pretty well. We started at 8:40 in the morning. Now it's 10:12, so close to 2 hours, 1 hour and a half. So now just now FSD was giving me a warning, basically to say that the road condition is the road is under construction, so there are a lot of construction-related signs. So it gave me a warning signal to ask me to be careful. Although we're still doing the automatic driving now. It's obviously more complicated with the construction going on. Okay, so it's actually pretty good. I mean, I don't feel any problem, any kind of urgent need for me, the human driver, to take over at this time. So FSD still does its things. So far, since 8:40, when FSD was started, now is about more than 1 hour and a half. Now again, another warning to basically let me know to be careful. I am careful. I'm mindful that the automatic driving does have its limit. So I need to take over at any moment if necessary. But so far so good. So we're driving with the FSD for about 1 hour and a half. And the only moment that I had to take over up to this point was that yellow line incident, which I took over and FSD stopped for about 20 seconds, I would say. So out of this 1 hour and a half, the rest of the time, except for that about 20 seconds, the rest of the time has always been FSD to automatically drive itself. So now we have passed that construction area. Back to the regular highway. So I'm going to stop the recording now. To pause the recording for now. Okay, we have another situation of road construction. So let's see how it goes. The right lane is closed, so we have signs for that. We're currently just following this white SUV, so there shouldn't be a problem. Warning again, apparently FSD noticed all of these things going on, so it gives out that warning signal just to let the driver be aware of this situation. The lane actually is quite narrow because of this road signs. Okay, so everybody is kind of slowing down. We're driving very slowly now. "25 miles per hour. Another warning sign from the car. I can feel my steering wheel. It's kind of a left and right wiggling. Usually on the road, you have the lane signs or lane lines, either solid line or dashed line. but now there is no line, and it has to, well, actually, to our left, there's a solid yellow line, but to our right, there's no line. So it constantly monitors the distance between this orange, kind of dashed orange road signs to make the steering wheel adjustment. And this is a very different feel of the regular driving, because regular driving, it just goes straight, and it sees people, so it drives exceptionally slower. So that's good. People first, safety first. So now it's picking up the speed because the vehicles in front of us were kind of far away, so it's catching up. Now again, keep in mind that we are doing the car automatically driving itself in this road conditions. So that's actually pretty good. Alright, we're approaching the end of this section. Okay, that was over, and we're all good. So let me pause again. Looks like road construction ahead. We're passing through this small town in Pennsylvania called Breezewood. This actually is a weird thing, because the interstate highway number 70 going to the west, usually, in almost all instances, such a highway would just kind of cross a town through. But for some weird reason, I read this from news actually at one point. For some weird reason, maybe a local law or something, this interstate 70 kind of was cut off here in this town, and you have to kind of drive through on the small road to make a number of turns in this small town in order to get back to Highway 70, which apparently also at some point turns into Interstate 76. If you can read the sign, so here is 70 and 76. Very weird situation. Okay, so I had to stop FSD here because the construction entered the local road, so it's very hard for the systems to know where to go. So for the first time, pretty much, well, I guess the second time, I stopped FSD. Okay, we'll pass through this kind of weird little area, and then I will get back to FSD again. Okay, we are back from passing through the little town called Breezewood, Pennsylvania. Plus a pretty bad traffic jam there. So now let me start FSD. Okay. So we have a toll booth to pay toll. Depending on how they are set up, I may or may not have to stop FSD for that. So let's see. Okay, so I have to stop. Yeah, the automatic driving cannot handle this. I can I'm pretty sure. Even though we have the sensor here in the car, but because the setup is this kind of toll booth lane, then
now keep right to take Interstate 70 west.
Okay, then I had to stop it. Okay, so now that we passed the toll, let me start FSD now again. Start. Okay, we just started FSD. So if you're not familiar with the American farm barns, this is one of those. It's for agriculture setup. A little bit mountain view, and also a little bit Wagner. So currently he's playing one of his overtures. Magnificent orchestral music. During this kind of long road trips, it's actually very good to have what is called the Tesla Premium Connection Service, because the car would have the high-speed internet connection, and you can stream music, Spotify or TuneIn, these kind of things. The way it works is different from radio music, because if it's radio signal, once you are in this type of mountain area, it will be very unstable. But streaming is different because it goes by digital data, and the system has a cache function into it. So while it is playing currently this moment of Wagner, it also downloading information ahead of time. So if there's kind of momentary disconnection of the internet, it still is able to play music. Also, another factor is because it's digital, it either has it or it doesn't have it, right? So it does not have like the bad signal, that kind of sound. Instead, if you have music, the sound quality is always good. Of course, if you have a prolonged disconnection of internet, then the sound simply stops. So it's highly recommended if you are on the road trip. Very useful. Okay, I cannot play music for too long because otherwise YouTube is going to identify the commercial product of this, and it may prohibit me from posting the information there. So let me start.